Hi, this is Tabitha Smithers. Thanks for joining me in the review of operational changes we have at LifeEvac 3. So let's get started. Let's go over an overview of what we'll talk about today. First off, how do you obtain a helicopter? What is going to remain the same? What's going to change? What does this mean for me, the provider? What should I know when the aircraft's landing? And what if I have questions or comments or concerns? Who do I call? So you need a helicopter. Great news. You're still going to call the same number. The comm center will call the 877 number that LifeEvac has had for 20 years. That number's not going to change. So when we transition in April, that number will stay the same. What's also not going to change? The crews. It is still going to be the same crew. We should still have the same timeliness in coming to your event. Our oversight will still come from VCU. We'll still have a nurse, a medic, and a pilot. Our capabilities are going to be the same. We are still going to be based out of West Point, and we will still continue to carry on 20 plus years of service, which is absolutely amazing. So let's talk about what is going to change. What's going to change is our geographical footprint. And good news, it's going to get bigger. We have a new partnership with Global Medical Response, who is MedTrans. That's going to provide us more medical resources, air medical resources in specific. So you will now have the availability of 2 Eurocopter 135s and 1 Eurocopter 145. MedTrans will maintain the pilots, the mechanics, and the aircraft. And the good news also is that our pilots, most of them will be transitioning over to MedTrans from Air Methods Corporation. So that means they'll be familiar with the area, which is great. Our aircraft's going to change colors. So I'll show you some of that. And our alliances with Bon Secours, Riverside Regional, and Mary Washington have grown stronger, and you'll be able to see that as well. We have a greater extension into the service areas of the community. We're also now going to have 3 geographical locations. So LifeEvac 1 is going to be in Hanover Airport, which is just west of the city of Richmond. LifeEvac 3 is going to stay at West Point. And LifeEvac 4 is going to be at Southside Medical Center in Petersburg. So that's going to allow us more opportunities to serve our counties and our communities and also our hospitals. We have more opportunity for specialty transports with 3 aircraft. And the P3 pluses in the Eurocopter 135, which is going to be at Petersburg and at West Point, is going to allow for about 170 pounds more capabilities. Now be mindful that our stretcher is still capped out at 500 pounds. So even though the aircraft gains 170, I'm hopeful that we will be able to expand our patients that we can carry, but we are still maxed out at 500. Some other new that's going on at the LifeEvac operational team, you will see 2 new faces. Dempsey Witt is going to be our site manager of operations, and Cody Main is going to be our business development manager. You probably will see both of these gentlemen in the community, so I wanted you to have a face with a name and kind of know who they are. They are both very familiar with the Richmond area. Both are paramedics and both have both EMS and interfacility experience. So we're very excited to have these gentlemen as part of our team. So without further ado, what you've been waiting for. I'm so happy to introduce to you November 730 Mike Tango, our new girl at LifeEvac 3. She is a Eurocopter 135, as I said, a P3 plus. So she is very beautiful in her black, white, and green, which, as you can see, based on the paint scheme, shows our alliance with Riverside. So you will see Riverside and VCU Health on the aircraft as well. And here's another view of her. So November 730 Mike Tango is her tail number. You will also see, here's another couple views of her. So in overview, LifeEvac 1 at Hanover, 3 at West Point, 4 at Petersburg. We're going to continue our alliance with VSP Medflight in Chesterfield. And then new to this scheme as well is going to be our ground transport piece. So we are going to be contracted through AMR, and AMR will have the ability to bring a medic unit to the base if for some reason the flight crews cannot fly, let's say for extended maintenance or for severe weather, we now have the possibility that AMR could come and get the flight crew if it is in the best interest of the patient for them to have our level of care. Here's a picture of the sassy girl out of Hanover. So this is the Eurocopter 145. Her tail number will be a little bit different, but this is the stock photo of her. She has not arrived yet. This is going to be totally VCU branded with a black, gold, and white, and she will also sport the VCU RAM on the side of her. Petersburg Aircraft, November 119 Mike Tango. She exhibits our alliance with Bon Secours. She is black, white, and blue. She's also the same as the West Point Aircraft Eurocopter 135 P3+. So here is a picture of her. So if you see that aircraft coming into the Peninsula region, you will know who she is, who she's affiliated with, etc. Here's a couple more views of Life Evac 1 and Life Evac 4. Just different looks of what the underbellies will look like, because of course that's what you'll see first fly overhead before we get down on the ground. And here's a little sneak peek into the inside. A little bit different than our current 135. This is a Metro interior. You see that the second picture has the third seat in, which will only be in if we're training someone, so that will not be in all the time. So let's just review and summarize what we've kind of gone over. We are going to expand our fleet to 3 aircraft. You will still have a nurse and a medic on board. MedTrans will still be providing the aircraft. They will now be providing the pilots, mechanics, and the aircraft versus Air Methods Corporation. We will be based out of Hanover, West Point, and Petersburg. VSP will remain the same. And we are also now going to expand our critical care transport options for patients when the aircraft is not available. And just to remember, you think you need a helicopter, put us on standby. And just to review what that does for you out in the community, you would activate us on standby to commit an aircraft to your incident. In no way do we want you to feel as though you are pressured or that you are obligated to use us. However, if you think you're going to need us and you commit us to the incident, then we are your resource until you say that you don't need us. If it is greater than 20 nautical miles, then the crew will lift and start heading in your direction. And what that does is that just starts closing the gap of time. And so if you get involved with your patient and you realize, I really wish I would have activated the aircraft, or I really now need you, we have minimized the time in which we are available to come and assist you and in turn be available for the patient. So like I said, in no way is there an obligation. You can cancel us at any time, even if you hear us in the distance. How do you get to us? So remember, we just talked about the 877 number still remains the same. We should be a one-stop call for you. You tell the your dispatchers that you'd like Life Evac. They call the 1877 number, and we get the resources you need. Once you've made the request, now what happens? What should you expect from there? We'll say, hey, thanks. We'll take it from here. We've got you. So regardless of how many aircraft you need or what you need, we are going to get the closest aircraft based upon your location and as many as you need. So we will have the ability, as we always have, to look at the geographical map and decide who is the closest, and we will call down the matrix for you. We will also check weather as we've always done. If you have a concern for weather, leave that up to us. We have all the fancy tools to look and project and etc., and we will still continue to do the safest mission possible with concerns to the weather as well. Now let's say you need more than one aircraft. Be mindful the LZ commanders will need an LZ either big enough for 2 to 3 aircraft, or they will need to know, have to coordinate between the first, second, third, or the first and the second aircraft. Our pilots will still have the ability to talk to the other aircraft via air-to-air frequency, radio frequencies we call that, but the LZ commander will have to know that he will need to brief each individual aircraft prior to their arrival on the ground. Now that we're on the ground, how do you take care of us? What does that mean for us? Our emergency egress procedures in this Eurocopter 135 is just as the Eurocopter 135 that we are in. The pilot and the co-pilot door handles go up. The doors back wing out. So you would turn the handle and basically pull the door open. The side compartments, the patient compartment, has the slide doors. So you'll flip up the handle, slide the doors back. In the event that there's an incident in which the frame is damaged and the doors cannot be slid open, there is an emergency egress via the windows, which are located in the cabin in the back where the patient and the crew will more than likely be. And the red cap gets removed. There's a rubber ring that pulls around the window, and then it can pop out from either the inside or the outside. In the front, there's still, if you got to shut the aircraft down because the crew's incapacitated, it is still the fuel, the engine, and the battery switches. The inside of the new aircrafts will look very similar to the others. They'll be a little bit sleeker design, not as quite as many buttons sitting out. They'll be a little bit more flush, but it will still be the same for you all to shut things down and kind of, take care of us as the crew. Last but not least, one major change that's going to occur on Saturday morning, April the 3rd. If you are a county that operates with us on 800, we will not have 800 capabilities on start day. We will be using statewide EMS. I have reached out to the comm centers, let them know that, but in the event of a hiccup, just know that we will be using statewide EMS. GMR has contracted with all the radio professionals, and they are in the workings. The aircraft for Life Evac 3 just arrived yesterday, March the 30th, and so it will take a little bit of time to get the contractors to the aircraft to get them programmed. So until further notice, 800 radios are not operational, and we will notify you as soon as that programming takes place. So once again, statewide EMS for all scene calls. If you're used to operating us with us on the 800 system, it is temporarily not available, and we will let you know when that comes back up online again. Transition day, Saturday, April the 3rd, 0800. That 877 number will roll from Omaha, Nebraska, which is the current comm center, to Texas. Texas will be our comm center for about the first 45 to 60 days. And then the comm center will be here in Richmond. We will have a comm center that's ran by VCU at Perriman Broad in Richmond. And that's where we will be based, where our communications center will be based and we will be dispatched from. But until that is fully up and running, and as we transition and train, we will start in Texas and then move to Richmond. What that should mean for you all is really nothing. That 877 number is going to move from Omaha, Nebraska, go to Texas, and in turn will come to Richmond. We are still available on Facebook, Twitter, our website. Please, keep up with us on social media. Please reach out if you have concerns or questions. Our VCU Life Evac page on Facebook the name has changed, as I'm sure if you follow us, you know. So our VCU Critical Care Transport Network has transitioned over to Life Evac the way it used to be many years ago. And so if you look up Life Evac on Facebook, you should be able to find our page and kind of stay up with what's going on and where we are out in the community and who's doing what. Last but definitely not least, I am available to you. Please call me. If there are any issues, any concerns, I would love to know about them. I want to be available to you to help work through them, as does the rest of our team. But I will be a liaison for you, and hopefully there will be very minimal hiccups. The team has worked very diligently, and there's a lot of behind the scenes work, as I'm sure you all know, to transition and to add another aircraft and to get 3 bases up and running. But this is my personal cell phone number and also my work email. So please feel free to email me, text, call, whenever, however. And if I don't answer, it just means I'm in the aircraft or just in a position that I can't pick up the phone, but I will get right back to you. So please call without, no reservation. If things work great, we'd like to hear that too. So if there are any questions, please call me. I will be available to you once again. Thank you all. I'm very excited for the changes that are coming down with VCU, with Life Evac, how we're going to be expanding in the PEMS region and be available to you, and also in the greater part of Richmond. So once again, have a great day. Thank you, and I'm sure we will all be in touch.